This computer. Excellent. All right, welcome out. Glad everybody can join us. We're gonna go through the doTERRA business opportunity, and this presentation will start out a little bit with. Let's see if I can get the current participants will be muted. Continue. All right, so this presentation will cover, first of all, what the overarching problem is that the company solves, and then we're kind of gonna demonstrate a little bit what the opportunity is, and then we'll describe doTERRA and its background, and then we'll talk a little bit about essential oils and what they are, and then there's another portion of it that kind of shows you how the business model works, and so that's kind of the flow that we'll take this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and click share screen, and you should be live with that. And all right, is everybody able to see the main screen? Thumbs up. Awesome. Excellent. So one of the contexts of this presentation is about discovering purpose for yourself and what you do moving forward. And so this is a little bit about me and what I've been able to achieve. I think I've grown a little bit since this one, but basically. Our team generates about 34 million in annual sales now. Between 30 and 40 million is where we're at in terms of size. We're actually, last time I looked today, we're over 112,000 team members worldwide. We're also in 51 countries in every state, and the primary mission that we set out as a team, or kind of our mission phrase, is to lift and liberate the world. And currently I'm what's called a blue diamond in doTERRA. So in doTERRA, what is the big problem? So when you think of any great opportunity, it would naturally have a solution to something that's major. And what the major leading cause of death is basically unhealthy lifestyles. And in addition to that, there's over 100,000 people in the United States every year that die from prescribed medications. And so between these two big things, between lifestyle habits and basically abuse or incorrect use of pharmaceuticals or things like that, creating a pretty big issue. What's interesting about that, I just realized that the number of deaths from prescription drugs is about what the current corona cases are. Anyway, that was just a poor humor there. But the other part of this is that in 2014, there was about $1 in every $5 in the United States is spent on health care. And so the size, now updated figures indicate that that's now closer to 20%. And so if you consider that, the spending on healthcare is actually increasing dramatically. And so because of that, the lifestyle of people and their health habits and the amount of money that's spent on healthcare, there's basically never been a better time or even a greater time to lead people to a healthy lifestyle or a sense of purpose. And now, if you think of the term purpose itself, I remember I first became acquainted with purpose when I was in high school, and back in the old days, we used to cruise the strip, and I remember one day going out and seeing people out there that had graduated already, and I remember getting hit with the idea. I thought, wow, is this all there is? I had a limited view of the world, but I thought, if that's all there is, it was my first sense of the idea of purpose. If somebody's living their life, what is their purpose? Or What is their reason for going on, or what gives you meaning, or things like that. And so that was the first moment that I really identified with it. And so as you think about the problems out there, usually purpose is found when you identify your ability to be able to solve other people's problems. And so if you're framing your mindset in terms of doTERRA, it's what if you had a vehicle or a cause that could solve some of the greatest problems in the world, which have to do with lifestyle and basically healthcare itself. And so with that in mind, doTERRA was founded in 2008, and it was founded by these individuals. The three individuals that are standing towards the right, with Emily Wright in the middle, Dr. Hill, and David Sterling, who's standing on the far right. Those are the three original founders. And then the other four became owners shortly thereafter. And doTERRA is completely debt-free, and there's no shareholders, there's no board of directors, there's no public offering. Basically, it's doTERRA is an LLC, a 7-member LLC, and all of the owners are currently running the critical functions of the company, along with a pretty massive executive team as well. Now, the reason this is important is because usually companies that are wholly owned like this, one is they're able to stay true to their mission. And so doTERRA, when they first started, was actually offered $4 million in funding at the cost of 51% of their company. And so they took a break from that meeting, and they were walking around the streets of New York, and they decided that if they did that, they would lose control of their mission. And so rather than do that, they went and turned down the funding, and they went back and basically mortgaged their homes and everything else, and went without salaries for almost 2 years, basically to get doTERRA self-funded. Now today, of course, we're a massive, I think our run rate right now is about 3 billion. And we have about over 7 million accounts worldwide. Company's debt-free. We've got a massive campus, huge distribution facilities. So the company's very stable and very capable. Now, also, if you think about debt freedom, why that's important is because basically, if a company, especially now, experienced any sort of trouble, those are usually the types of things that make a company really weak or threaten its stability. And so doTERRA doesn't have that. They have reserves. Our commissions are banked 3 months in advance. So we've never, ever missed a pay period in the 10 years that I've been involved, in the 12 years of the company's existence. And I don't see for the foreseeable future that, at least, discounting any major government intervention or something like that, there isn't any reason for this company to go broke, if that makes sense, which is really important. Like, I've invested a lot of years of my energy into this company, and the last thing that I'd want it to do is go out of business. And so we have a really good foundation for that. But when doTERRA started, their basic premise was, what if we could provide people with the best essential oils in the world and bridge the divide between Eastern and Western medicine? And so this is the idea that science and medicine has great solutions. However, with all the interests that are involved in it, it's not always motivated correctly. And then the other side is there's so much that's available on the natural side that could be effective, that empower people in their very own homes. And so the company started with the idea of validating the power of plants and plant medicine, and basically creating a way for that, or a pathway to merge that, so that you could have the best of both worlds. You could have the power of plants and self-use in your home, while actually limiting or controlling your need for professional medical care, even though it's always there for you if you get into serious trouble. But there's so much that you can do in terms of lifestyle and taking care of yourself that can solve many, many problems, and probably really reduce the cost of healthcare overall. And so that was kind of the premise. So if you're now, I think all of you on the call are probably familiar with essential oils, but if you're not, they're basically extracts from plants. They're distilled from a variety of plants. There's not very many plants in the world that actually create or have therapeutic compounds, but those are being more and more identified as science becomes better and our extraction processes become better. We're finding more and more health benefits from the plants in the earth. And your oils themselves can be used in a number of ways. You can there's basically three primary uses. There's aromatic, which is breathing them, and you use equipment like diffusers to put them into the air, which basically puts an essential oil is basically a volatile aromatic compound. It means it transfers from its state into a gaseous state really easily. And so when you put it into the air, it kind of lingers in the air, it settles on things, and it allows the benefits of those oils to affect your body in a different way, as well as cleansing or purifying your environment. The other common way is topical, where you apply them to your body. The feet is probably, if you have sensitive skin or anything like that, you'll probably have no trouble using oils on your feet. But you can use them on various areas of the body, whether you go directly to the location that you have an issue, or if you use them on various points of the body. There are pressure points or acupuncture points and things like that, that as you get more experience, can make them even more and more effective. And then the third use is internal. And doTERRA has several of the oils that are you can use internally. And one of the best ways to do that is, especially if they're citrus oils. Citrus oils are really great in water, for example. So I have my glass of water here, and I actually have several drops of lemon oil in it currently, and that helps clear your system. If we were in person, I could actually show you how lemon oil breaks down petrochemicals in the body. And there's a lot of those that we get if we're drinking bottled water or other things like that. There's probably petrochemical that's actually inside our body. And so the lemon oil works inside your body and actually helps to cleanse it, as well as lemon has huge health benefits in itself. But internal use, you can also cook with it. So you'll notice that a lot of the names of the oils reflect herbs because they come from those herbs. Whether it's oregano or thyme or ginger or things that you're probably commonly familiar with. And that's because a lot of these plants we eat or we use in cooking and other ways. So if you think about that plant, you have the ability to have its highest therapeutic benefit distilled into a bottle. And so it becomes about 50 to 70 times more powerful than the herbs that you're eating. And it's concentrated, easier to use, more convenient, but the effect of it is basically what's there. Now, this is the differentiator of what makes doTERRA oils different. And this is our CPTG stamp, the brand that doTERRA has created to represent its purity process. Now, the CPTG process goes all the way back to the farm and how the plants are handled. And another big part of it is its testing process. But if you looked at the whole world of essential oils, most of it is synthetic. In fact, the majority of the oils that you find in the world are synthetic. And those are used in cleaners and perfumes and other things like that. Then there's a chunk. The next largest sector would be food. And you've probably noticed wintergreen or peppermint flavored gum or food or different things like that. Those are all essential oil flavored. And then there's a small percent of the market that's therapeutic grade. And then doTERRA takes that therapeutic standard and elevates it to the highest possible level. And what that does is that creates assurances for the customer base that the product is unadulterated, that it's as pure and as potent as you can possibly get it. It's free from all kinds of pesticides or chemicals or other kinds of residue that might cause reactions or things like that. And then also it standardizes its potency. And so our testing procedures mark the oil on certain standard levels so that you get a continuous or a consistent result from our oils. And that's as a result, the company currently has 144 hospital relationships. And of course, doTERRA is allowed in those environments because of the consistency of our testing processes. Now, this is, there's two aspects, two departments that actually do our testing. One is called APRC, that's Aromatic Plant Research Center. And that's a third-party source where all of our oils go to first. So when they come off of the farms, they go to APRC for testing, where they undergo 11 tests. From there, if they pass, they'll go to doTERRA. doTERRA repeats the 11 tests, and then we add there's an additional 43 tests that we perform on our oils inside our own labs. And then we match those two, those tests to make sure that there isn't differentiators in the supply chain itself. Now, this is a list of what those various tests look like. And as you can see, it's pretty intense. Most of this, I don't even know what it is. But what I do know is that the level of testing is very, very difficult to duplicate. I think there was one other company that tried on a big scale, and they actually went into bankruptcy. And so doTERRA built their model around this from the beginning. So everything's built to sustain, because the CPTG is the centerpiece of the company's value proposition. So the other thing that APRC did is they went and pulled oils from more than 50 companies, every major brands that you would see on the shelf, including online sellers and different things like that. The findings basically demonstrated that 3 companies had pretty good oils, one of which was doTERRA. One was the company that's in bankruptcy that you've never heard of before, and one was a really small mom and pop shop. Everybody else tested, every single major brand had some form of adulteration at some level, and some being completely synthetic, which was more common than not. And so from that test of the oils being sold there, 80% were found to be adulterated. Let's see. So these are some of the types of adulteration that occur in oils. And so sometimes carrier oils are used without labeling the bottle properly. So it's just put in there as a filler, for example. It's really common to have different plant species that are from the same, that are in the same category and marketed as a specific oil. So for example, it's common to find lavandin marketed as lavender, for example. And those are two different plants in the same species, but they have different health benefits. And lavandin, of course, is a lot cheaper than lavender. And so it's not any wonder that you would find it a lot in many companies' brands. There's the inclusion of aroma chemicals. This is done normally in the normal chain, and you'll see this on another slide. Most of the time, oils will go to a perfumer where they use synthetics to balance out the fragrance of the oil. And that's where a lot of your store shelf oils will come from, that type of channel. Now, one of the other cool things that doTERRA does is we have a massive budget that's dedicated towards research. In last count I heard, there's about $10 million a year that's invested into active research programs. doTERRA currently has about 28 PhD level scientists that are on staff, that their entire job is to push the levels of oils, their capabilities, their capacities. There's a lot that the company knows, but because of certain regulations or things like that, we have to figure other creative ways to actually help people understand that. But the cool thing about that is most everything that you could do with an oil is being experimented or tested with, and has been over the last several years. And the other part that really distinguishes us is our co-impact sourcing model. So the normal model is you have growers that are out growing on their own, and then there's a layer of middlemen. And then that group usually puts pressure on the growers, and so there's all kinds of mishandling of the product itself. Just an example of that is vetiver oil. So vetiver is grown in Haiti. Haiti is a third world country, so the farmers are impoverished, and the wholesalers will come through and basically bid against the farms. And of course, if you're somebody that's starving, and you basically sell whatever you can as fast as you can. Well, a vetiver plant will grow a root within 6 months. And so it's common practice for the wholesalers to be coming in and having the farmers selling their crop every 6 months. And unfortunately, the product doesn't provide a healing benefit until it's been in the ground for 18 months. Now you can see that's quite a discrepancy, and also because of the economies of the area, the farmers aren't able to sustain that. So the new model that doTERRA brought in is co-impact sourcing. We form cooperatives, and in instances like Haiti, we actually provide living salaries to the farms so that they can grow the plants properly and sustain their families until the harvest is done. Currently, doTERRA has about 170,000 farmers on payroll in this type of program. So it kind of gives you an idea of the magnitude of what we're talking about. It's actually so large that it's healing countries, and it's alleviating poverty in specific high stress regions. Because now the company has so much horsepower, we actually go in and target those types of areas to create opportunities to alleviate poverty. This is just a graph that shows you the traditional model, how it goes from the farm to distillers to perfumists to brokers, and then out through retailers, and then the consumer buys it off the shelf. That would be the typical model. The doTERRA model actually shortens that. We do away with all the layers of middlemen, and basically you have a direct route in monitoring completely down to the ground. So we're providing opportunities. Entire divisions of our company are focused on training farmers and monitoring the income situation. We have an entire group that's an auditing division that is called Fair Price, and they run around and make sure everyone's getting paid properly, and that everyone's getting treated fairly along the way that there's no corruption or things that enter into the chain. This is just a little graph that kind of shows you how where our oils are coming from throughout the world. The blue areas that you see, those are economically distressed areas. So those would be areas that that we have really intense co-impact sourcing programs that are actually poverty programs, poverty elimination programs. Kind of to give you a shakedown, the difference in pay for the farmers is about 4 times what they were getting. And so what this has done is this brought people into a state where they can actually provide for their families. It creates a living income. Just for example, when I went to Kenya here this year, the farms are run by generally a family, and doTERRA allows them to grow a 1/4 acre at a time. But just to give you a context of the scale of that, that 1/4 acre will put a child through college. So it kind of gives you an idea of what that 1/4 acre is worth. Now, once they master that 1/4 acre, doTERRA will let them add in 1/4 acre increments, I think up to 5 acres, which of course creates huge prosperity in those parts of the world. And we're trying to allow as many families into that process as possible. When I was out there, doTERRA owns 1 farm in Kenya, and it's a training farm. And its sole purpose is to train families how to grow these products properly. And then the network around there consists of 2,400 farms. And when I was there was over 400 farms on the waiting list. So it gives you an idea how the company's using our massive market channels to actually create an impact and really make a difference in people's lives throughout the world. So I'm going to show you a little video about Healing Hands and how that fits in to our farms. You guys able to hear that okay?
Healing Hands Foundation brings healing and hope to the world through providing global communities with the tools they need to become self-reliant. By participating in projects that address the needs of microcredit lending, access to healthcare, education, sanitation, clean water, and fighting child sex trafficking, individuals are empowered and lives are changed. doTERRA International provides all the overhead and administrative costs of the foundation, thereby ensuring that 100% of all donations go directly to people in need. That's been the mission and the vision of the foundation from the very beginning, even when doTERRA International didn't have very much, even when its founders weren't drawing a paycheck. But the desire, the objective was to establish a pattern of giving right from the very beginning. In fact, one might say that as much as we love the essential oils, as much as that brings hope and empowerment to people that use and share the oils, the culture really begins with this desire to give, to help, to liberate, and to empower others through the foundation. One of the primary differences between doTERRA and its humanitarian foundation and so many others is the difference that you see in the lives of the people. They come to doTERRA looking for their why, their reason to participate in something, to give back, and they find it in the Healing Hands Foundation.
Cool. Did that come through, everybody? Were you able to hear that? It's. I thought he did a lot better job than explaining it. Also, it kind of helps to really see, because the magnitude of what we're talking about is really hard to describe in words. In what I'm describing to you is only a scratch of what's actually going on. Now, as part of like a wellness lifestyle, this is kind of the foundation of what doTERRA is trying to bring to its customer base. And that is, we call this a wellness pyramid. And basically, if you look at it, you'll notice that the base of it is eating right, then it advances to exercise, rest and stress management, reducing toxic load in your house. And then it goes up into healthcare, which is informed self-care. So that's how do I use the oil to help my body? And then proactive medical care, which is our doctors and our specialists and things like that. Now, when we have a really strong foundation, of course, a lot of the ailments that happen in the world are preventable, and a lot of things occur to us simply because of our lifestyle habits. And so these foundational things are kind of what I go around and do. I help people bring this. I help people improve their nutritional levels. I help people live a better lifestyle. I help them with managing their stress and rest. And I have tools that help alleviate toxic load inside the home by bringing a lot cleaner environment. And then I have the tools and we have the knowledge base and the training to help people learn how to really specialize with their oils. Now this Pinnacle, doTERRA's actually started on a program called Prime Meridian Health Clinics. We actually have 2 of them that are open currently, one in St. George that's active, and then there's one on doTERRA campus, but right now that's only open to employees. But the vision is to actually create a full-scale healthcare clinic system. And this system actually operates completely different, or a lot different. It solves a lot of the problems that exist in the healthcare world today. And so these clinics are fully equipped. They They can handle, they're staffed by MDs and other specialists as well. So it's an actual health clinic. But the way that it's handled is a lot different than our current healthcare system. So if you think about it, it's a completely integrated health clinic system that is basically designed to address the problems that exist with insurance and the healthcare world and pharmaceuticals and different things like that. It's a really incredible thing, and it's pretty new. And the doTERRA has some really smart people that are appointed to that have been working out the kinks. But I see that this as being a really powerful thing, and all of this is being actively used right now, kind of in a test scenario. But these are the types of things that we're looking forward to being able to add to our entire offering, a complete health and well-being system. And so this just kind of brings us full scale around, and that is, when you think of your own purpose, can you see yourself teaching others about natural wellness and having this incredible toolbox to be able to share with people to help their families, especially in times like that. Now, within this, we have a team, and our team is Edge Team International. That's my, if you look, as you enroll in the company and you look at your sponsors and things like that, you'll see Edge Team International. That's me and Jennifer. And our team has a defined mission. And so one of the things that we're trying to do as a team is we're trying to empower 3 million households by 2025. And by doing that, we believe that we can help 1,000 people become financially independent in a big way. In other words, at diamond level or above. Now, and then, of course, our overarching purpose is to live and liberate the world with the power of our network, leadership, and capital. So as we develop powerful leaders, we're networked all over the world, and people within our team are actually partnering with Healing Hands, for example, and we have projects going on, everything from assisting Syrian refugees to poverty issues in Mexico, and we have homeless projects and sex traffic recovery programs going on inside our team that are run by our leaders that are going on right now. And I hope to expand that. Where this 1,000 came from is one of my leaders. He said he did some math and he figured that if we had 1,000 diamonds, that we'd have the financial capacity to and the resources to liberate every single child trapped in sex trafficking currently. That's where that number came from. And so as a team, we've rallied behind that type of vision, because basically that's a huge impact. And once we have that kind of horsepower, we're putting processes in place currently with our current leaders to really organize that network. We're creating a clearer and clearer path on how to develop as a leader. And then, of course, as you mature in this company, you'll find that you have prosperity, and that creates capital, and capital creates ability. It creates the ability for you to do things. And our job as a team, we see ourselves growing together throughout our lives, and basically harnessing that network, leadership, and capital, and using it for some really incredible things as we get more and more capable. As part of the as part of being involved, of course, you have the ability to earn free products. There's an intense amount of purpose. You're changing the world. It's unavoidable. You have the ability to earn extra income. And then ultimately, at the very least, you have tools to improve your own health, which makes for a pretty rounded situation. All right. So here's, I'm going to cover just a little bit about how you can start. So to be a part of the mission, you can either be a wholesale customer, which in both of these accounts are the same. There's a wholesale customer, a wellness advocate. The simple way to look at it, both accounts are identical, except a wellness advocate can enroll people and can earn an income, okay? But they cost the same, everything's the same, you have the same websites, everything like that, except as a wholesale customer, you can't enroll people. It's just access to the product, kind of like Costco. So basically, the membership is $35 the first year. It's $25 on your renewal, and they give you a free peppermint oil. But that membership gives you wholesale access to the product, which is 25% off. You can waive the $35 simply by selecting a kit. Now, this is the best value because all of these kits are priced below wholesale on enrollment. And I just got a note earlier today that the kits, some of these kits are actually on sale for 20% off as an end of month incentive. So if you're looking at the wholesale price, there's another 20% off. So it's a really good time. They're running an enrollment incentive to keep people excited for March. So that doesn't happen very often. They do generally have some incentives, but that's a direct benefit on these kits. So let's see. So the membership, you have 25% off. You have your own website. You manage your own orders. There's free product credits that you earn on all your orders as long as you're using the loyalty reward program. There's continuing education, and then you're part of a community. So you're not really alone. There's lots of access. We have Facebook groups. We have meetings. We have other things to connect to. So there's lots of assistance and help around you. And then, of course, you have the option of earning, which is really cool. Earning an income, this just gives you a snapshot of what the various, these are leadership ranks. So these are, silver is about a mid-level rank. And these are the average reported incomes of all silvers. So all silvers worldwide, all incomes are totaled, and it's divided by the number of silvers. That's what the average is. So that means half make more, half make less. But it comes together around that 26,000 a year mark. Golds are running about 57,000 a year. Platinum, so you get into the six figures. Diamonds, you get into some serious financial capability. Blue diamond, you start getting into the wealth categories. So that kind of gives you a little snapshot there. So those are reported totals from doTERRA's income disclosures. So as part of being a wellness advocate, you have you have your product rebate. You have the ability to pay for your product, to earn play money, generate a part-time income or a full-time job replacement or wealth income. There's a number of ways to do it. So if you're just sharing a little bit, if you just, somebody enrolls once in a while, well, that's kind of like getting a rebate on your product order. If you give it a little effort and you kind of put a little team together, even if you're just kind of a part-time, kind of playing with it a little bit, maybe you get it up to where you pay all your products free, basically, or you're doing it to increase that extra income, getting a little extra check coming in, or you put some real energy into it and create a part-time or a secondary income for yourself, or of course, I don't like to do things small, so I went all the way to category 6. So that's fun. So the way that you get started is you either choose whether or not you just want to be a customer, or if you want to be a wellness advocate. The person that referred you, which would be me, and then it's either $35 or it's free with a kit. You just select a kit. I take your information, we set you up online, you get a number, and you're ready to go. Basically, is how that works. And this is my contact information. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can do it there. I kind of post my travels around the world and different things. All right, so that is that. We'll stop the share. Then I'm also going to stop the recording. So I hope you all enjoyed this presentation, and